Hi, dear students. Today let's learn some grammar concepts. Before we start, I would like to request you all to brush up on your basic grammar. Things like what is a sentence, subject, object, the noun, the verb, persons, number, subject verb agreement, etc. The first chapter, that is Unit 1 on grammar in our main course book, deals with modal auxiliary, as you can see on the screen. Modal auxiliary. Now, what is modal auxiliary? Or what are modal auxiliaries? Now, in order to have a better understanding of this concept, we'll have to go back 3-4 back slides. The concept of modals or expression of modalities is complex. However, in this chapter, modal auxiliary, we will limit ourselves to the basics. So, like I told you, we will have to move back a couple of slides to have a better understanding of modal auxiliaries. Now, to understand modal auxiliary, let's first deal with one of the very important concepts of grammar in English, that is the verb. Let's see what is a verb. Textbook definition has it that a verb is a word that tells or asserts something about a person or a thing. Now, what do we mean by this? Let's simplify this definition. A verb is a word that expresses an action. A verb is a word that expresses an action. Now, in this example, there is a word called kick that expresses an action. So, I kick the ball, which will mean first person I kicking the ball. I kick the ball. Take a look at another example. A verb is a word that expresses possession. In this example, I have a pen. Have indicates ownership or possession. So these two words, kick and have, are verbs. Let's have some more examples and some more definition. Finally, a verb is a word that expresses a state of being. What do I mean by this? A state of being. A state of being simply means a verb that expresses who or what a noun is, was, will be, etc. in a sentence. So in this sentence, Tushi, what Tushi is? Tushi is a musician. Okay, like I said, a state of being verbs. Here is expresses who or what a noun is. Third person Tushi is, the verb is, and is the state of being verb, a musician. Another example, I am happy. Am is a be form of verb. We will see it in the next slide. What are be form of verbs? Expresses the first person I being happy. Okay, so that is a brief definition of what a verb is. Now moving on to the next slide. Verb are chiefly classified into two kinds, that is the auxiliary verb and the main verb, or the lexical verb, word that have meaning. Like example, kick has a meaning. The meaning would be to hit or strike with a foot or a leg. So it is classified into two main types of verb, the auxiliary verb and the main verb. Now question is, what is auxiliary verb? In order to understand what is auxiliary verb, we will first have to understand what is auxiliary. The literal meaning of auxiliary means supplementary, or helping, or giving assistance or support. Now what is it giving assistance to? It is giving support or helping the main verb. You will see it in the definition. Okay, your auxiliary verbs is like the assistant captain to the captain in your respective houses. Okay. Now let's see some definition, the definition of auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verbs are often described as helping verbs. They help or assist the main verb to show the verb's tense, number, form, question, or negative. Now, like I said earlier, it assists the main verb. Auxiliary verb assists the main verb to express tense, number, question, or negative. I told you in the beginning of this video tutorial to brush up on your basic grammar. Okay, so you will know what number is. Number means singular or plural. There are two numbers in English grammar. Anyway, things will be more clear with the help of the examples in the regarding auxiliary verbs. Let's see an example. The boy is kicking the ball. Here the auxiliary verb is, which is italicized, okay, is helping the main verb in terms of tense as well as number as well as person. Okay, again, like I told you in the earlier slide, you need to brush up on your basic grammar, number, subject, verb, agreement. Here the auxiliary verb is, the auxiliary verb is helping the main verb kick in forming tense, in expressing tense, number, as well as person. It expresses person. The boy is kicking the ball. Is present tense. Number will be singular. Tense will be present continuous. We will see the concept of tense in the next chapter. So for now, understand the concept of auxiliary in terms of this example. Okay, what auxiliary does? Auxiliary verb or auxiliary verb helps the main verb to express tense, number, to form questions or negative. Here in the second example, the boys are kicking the ball. The boys are kicking the ball. Here the auxiliary are expresses plural. It changes its form in helping the verb kick. So let me quickly run through the definition once again. Auxiliary verbs are helping verbs or assisting verbs. It helps or assists the main verb to show the verb's tense or to express the verb's tense, number, form question or negative. Now, auxiliary verbs, let's jump to the next slide. Before we actually go to the next slide, let's have one more example regarding how auxiliary verb helps to form question. How auxiliary verb helps to form question. In the next slide, we have an example. Did Tovi kick the ball? Here you can see the auxiliary verb did helping the main verb kick to form the question in asking if or did Tovi kick the ball. So with this example, we can come to the understanding that the auxiliary verbs thus helps the main verb to form question. Now moving to the next slide. Auxiliary verbs are chiefly divided or classified into two kinds: the primary auxiliaries and the modal auxiliaries. Very quickly, what are primary auxiliaries? Primary auxiliaries are those auxiliaries which are things like be form of verb, the do auxiliary, and the have auxiliary. Primary auxiliaries include am, is, are, were, been, and been. Okay, they will change their form. All these are be auxiliaries. They will change their form as per how they occur in a sentence. Okay, the do auxiliary includes does, did, and doing. The have auxiliary includes has, had, have. Like I said, this will change their form according to the subject-verb agreement. Now, coming to the modal auxiliary. Auxiliary verbs, like I said, is divided into primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. Now, this is what is introduced in your Unit 1 Grammar Main Course book. This is what we are going to learn today, the modal auxiliaries. Now you understand why we went back a couple of slides back to get a clear concept of what modal auxiliaries are. Okay, so this is modal auxiliary. This is what is introduced in your textbook. Let's see what modal auxiliaries are. Modal auxiliary. Modal auxiliary. Now, before we go forward, let me remind you once again the concept of model. Okay, model or models, the expression of modality is complex. However, in this chapter, as per your class 12 standard, we will limit ourselves to the basics. Okay, now one second. Modal auxiliary. How do we define modal auxiliary? They are also called modal verbs. Okay, they are called also called modal verbs. Why are they called verbs? Because we have seen in the earlier slides they actually help the main verb. Okay. Modal auxiliary, modal verbs are used to express modality. This modal auxiliary are used to express modality, that is, they indicate possibility, probability, or express possibility, probability, likelihood, ability, permission, request, capacity, suggestions, order, obligation, or advice. They help or assist or accompany the main verb and have a wide variety of communicative functions. Okay, these functions are listed here, as you can see. We will try and understand with the help of examples in the next slide. Modal auxiliaries in English include can, could, dare, have to, may, might, must not, need not, shall, should, ought to, will, and would. Now let's use these modal auxiliaries, at least one, in some examples. Okay, in example, some examples of modal auxiliaries or auxiliary in a sentence. Now, if you take a look at this first example, Tovi can kick the ball across the field. Tovi can kick the ball across the field. You can see that it is the auxiliary verb or modal auxiliary verb is underlined and italicized, whereas the main verb is just underlined. It assists the main verb kick. Modal auxiliary can assist the main verb kick. We'll explain it here. In the second example, can you solve this sum? The modal auxiliary can, which is again italicized and underlined, helps the main verb solve. The main verb solve in forming questions, as well as in expressing capability or ability here. In the above two examples, the modal can helps the main verbs kick and solve to express ability or capacity. Here it is helping the main verb to express capacity or ability. Tovi's ability of kicking the ball across the field. Okay. Here in the second example, it is expressing capacity. The modal verb can helps the main verb solve to express ability or capacity to solve the sum. We will have a couple of examples in the textbook, which I request you, or in fact advise you to go through. More examples. You can go now. Can I borrow your pen? Can I borrow your pen? Now what is happening here? In these examples, the modals can help the main verb go and borrow, as you can see it here, go and borrow, to express permission. Okay, you can go now. A permission is granted to the second person, you, to go. Likewise, can I borrow your pen? Can I borrow your pen? Asking permission if one can borrow a pen. One second, there's a slight problem with the mouse here. Okay, now moving on to the fifth example. I think we can win the match in that condition. I think we can win the match in that condition. Here the model can help the main verb win to express or indicate possibility. Okay, so uh, like I mentioned earlier, the model can uh, helps the main verb to express a couple of or many functions like permission, ability, capability, uh, as well as possibility. These are some of the examples of models. You will find more examples in your textbook. The details, like it is mentioned here, detailed list of models, what they indicate, express in a sentence, is given in a textbook. That is your Unit 1 Grammar, page number 20. Kindly go through it. An exhaustive list is given regarding models, what they express, and example sentences. Kindly go through it. Now, coming to the exercises, which is listed in your page 21 and 22. One each has been solved for you here. Example from exercise from J1 from your page 21. Okay, an exercise is given where you are supposed to fill in the blanks. Kirit dash to pay his debts. You're asked to fill in the appropriate the right modal auxiliary. So Kirit, answer would be Kirit ought to pay his debt. The modal verb ought, which expresses obligation, it helps the main verb to express obligation to pay his debts. Okay, likewise on your page number 22, another exercise is given, and one has been solved for you here. Here also you are supposed to fill in the blanks the appropriate or the right modal auxiliary. The first exercise is, my niece is only 5 years old, but she dash read complete sentences. Okay, you're asked to fill the appropriate model, so you can fill can. My niece is only 5 years old, but she can read complete sentences. Here, the modal auxiliary can expresses ability. Okay, helping the main verb read in the sentence. Okay, so these two exercises are solved for you, just as a pointer. Kindly go through all the exercises, solve it, and if we cannot, go back to the explanation again and try solving it again and again, and still if you cannot, kindly do not hesitate to contact us. Okay, so this brings us to the end of the first chapter in your grammar, that is modal auxiliary. Thank you. I'll get in touch with you again.